Browns Daily, live from the Greenbrier in West Virginia. Day 2 of Browns training camp in the books. Nathan Zagura alongside the voice of your Cleveland Browns, Jim Donovan. And, Jim, we actually got to see a practice before we went on the air today.
I thought a very good one.
Yeah, what stood out to you?
Yeah, I just thought I thought the offense looked very good. I think Watson has looked very good yesterday and again today. And it's a very business-like, settled football team. They are very organized in what they're doing, and they get their work done. And they're rewarded for that because here we are, in the afternoon, and they are done for the day.
They are done. Well, they got meetings. They are certainly done out on the field for the day.
Field-wise, they're done.
But you mentioned it. The efficiency. This doesn't look like the second practice of the year. There is not a second that is wasted. Everybody knows where they need to be, when they need to be there, and we actually even got to see a little 11-on-11 work today.
We did, and I just want to say on that point, I can remember, going back to when they first came back into the league, there would be many times in an afternoon practice where the coach would go, wait a minute, hang on, everybody. We got to begin the whole period all over again because there were so many new people, new coaches, new systems that, you had to get through that. And that is not the case here.
No, and that's even despite the fact that there have been some changes. Meanwhile, we'll talk a lot more about today's practice, but we also should talk about the fact that we got some news yesterday from head coach Kevin Stefanski.
He is going to call the plays.
He is, and we've got that soundbite as he told Tony Grossi, "You are not going to get to ask the question. Here is the information."
One sec.
All right, we'll have that in just a second, but that was really the big takeaway as long as some news, and we'll have sound bites from Coach as well with updates on Dalvin Tomlinson and defensive back Greg Newsome, both of whom started. One, Newsome on the NFI list, Dalvin Tomlinson on the PUP list, so we'll have those updates for you as well. But, the big news.
It's early.
It is very early. Better early than late.
Yeah, and it happens in every camp.
Yes.
So, better, you don't want it to happen at all, but, better now than in the last preseason game, right?
Of course. Yeah. And the truth is, while, everybody in the organization would like to see all the stars on the field right now, immediately. Yeah. This is still very early in the process. We're seeing guys continue to work out right now. Nick Chubb, Naheem Hines, as they're trying to work their way back from injuries. But let's talk about the play calling, because one of the things that stood out to everybody who was at minicamp, who was at the OTAs, and who's been here so far is that Ken Dorsey's actually been the one on the walkie-talkie. Right. And so some people started to think, I thought all along Stefanski would call the plays. He's a 2-time coach of the year, and a lot of that is due to the fact that he is so good at calling the plays, and we had a lot of comfort with that. But optically, it looked like it may go another direction. Well, Kevin Stefanski immediately in his first press conference here at the Greenbrier said, I'm calling the plays.
Tony, you can tell everybody I'm going to call the plays this year, so I'm going to get that out of the way. I know everybody's interested.
Wow.
And any decision I make for our football team, I take a lot of information in. I try to listen to a lot of people and make decisions. And ultimately, what I feel really, really confident in is our offensive staff. I feel really strongly about Coach Dorsey and the entire offensive staff. So we'll continue to be an operation that works together. It's never been a one-man show, so I know Tony was going to ask, so I want to get it out there before then.
I am 100% behind this.
Of course.
I love the way he calls a game. When we're doing a game, there's a rhythm, right? I always say to you, there's a rhythm in every game. And there's a rhythm when he really gets dialed in on what he is going to do against an opposing defense.
His ability to sequence plays over the course of a game, or even sometimes over the course of a drive, I think is elite. And you can go back and watch, and when one of the things that he does like to talk about, this was probably the most newsworthy press conference that he's maybe given in his time here with the Cleveland Browns. What he does like to talk about is ball, and he loves the minutia of showing a team this look and then setting them up, and then boom, they are expecting A, and he hits them with B. And that's something I think he does such a great job of.
I want to go back. I'm going to tap into you on this. Kevin has started his own foundation.
Yep.
And he had a wonderful
the
Keepers Foundation. And he had a wonderful kickoff night to really get the ball rolling. He had a silent auction. You did a wonderful job, handling that.
Thank you.
But he had his call sheet, which fascinated you and I, of the Thursday night game, the clinch game against the Jets.
Yep.
And it was amazing, wasn't it?
Incredible. It is
that
literally,
a coach would do that anyway.
I've
right?
never heard of it. I've never seen it in my life. And, that was one of the big live auction items. And I thought it might go for. I didn't even know what number. Obviously, how would you know?
Priceless, yeah.
Exactly. It is as one of one as it gets, given what a night that was for the city, what a magical, magical time that was. And not only it was his play call sheet, and then it also had his notes that he wrote in at various points during the game. They script the first few plays coming out of halftime. Those are written in pencil on there. And he was so generous of his time that night that actually I went and talked to the people who had won it, and they said, hey, do you think Coach would mind coming over just so we can understand what we're looking at?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know, but I'll go ask him. And I told Coach, I said, hey, here are the people that won. Would you mind? And then he came over and talked to them for like 15 minutes. He goes, this was this play. Oh, this was the Jerome Ford long touchdown play. Oh, here was this. Here's what these things mean. Yeah. I mean, you don't get that.
Well, and there's a language there, right?
Of course,
that we don't know. We don't know it, right? But yeah, I just thought that was phenomenal.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Very cool, and I'm sure that will be – people will walk into their house and see that on the wall somewhere and say, what's that? Oh, well, let me tell you what that is. No, it's not. No, it actually, in fact, it is. Kevin Stefanski said a little bit of news starting with the play calling, but also some injury updates on Dalvin Tomlinson and Greg Newsome.
Greg Newsome had surgery, his hamstring, so he'll be out. Hopefully have him back for week 1, but I'll have more of an update as we get closer. Dalvin Tomlinson is having surgery tomorrow, having a scope on his knee. Same idea. We'll update you guys as we get more information on those injuries. And those are all, like we've always talked about injuries, we'll continue to just work through it.
And he added a little bit more later on from a follow-up question.
During while he was working out this offseason, maybe a week ago or so.
Was Dalvin just wear and tear how did that sort of?
Yeah, again, one of those things that you come in, you check everybody physical, and then you just sometimes you do MRIs and you check in and you make a decision you think is in the best interest. And for Dalvin, the timing of this, obviously no timing is good, but felt like this is something we can get out of the way.
As you said earlier, better now than necessarily later. By the way, the media have gathered over to our left to watch Nick Chubb run. And by the way,
he's running well.
He looks great running in a straight line right now.
Hey, the hamstring injury is really rampant right now, isn't it? And the Lions have lost their kicker, hamstring injury. Newsome, hamstring injury. It really is out there right now. And I wonder if these guys, the word overtrain always comes into my mind.
Well, I think part of it, there are multiple things at play. I think one is you're looking for the ramp-up period. Now, in the case of Greg Newsome, this happened while he was working out to get ready to come back.
Not in Berea,
which is why he's on the NFI list. And now, when you need surgery on a hamstring, probably means you tore it off the bone. So this is a significant hamstring injury. And as you heard Coach say, he hopes that he will be ready for week 1, which we did our math is about 7 weeks away. Right. So you're hopeful there. I think that that's why they're so into this ramp-up period with the soft muscle issues. That's why they're monitoring all these guys. But I think part of it, too, is that athletes today are so finely tuned, like a finely tuned sports car. And so one little thing going off can be catastrophic.
It's just everywhere around the league.
Really
around sports. Well, but right now, around the NFL, it's like 2 a day.
Yeah.
Guys are going to miss an awful lot of time.
Bigger, stronger, faster.
Right.
And part of it is that your tendons and ligaments cannot get bigger, stronger, or faster. And so sometimes the stress ends up on a ligament or a tendon. In other cases, it ends up on the muscle itself. And you see guys, unfortunately, suffer injuries like this. Now, the Browns are deep at the cornerback position. That is good. We still need to see Cam Mitchell get back on the field. But Tony Brown has come in and was working in that nickel spot today. But you hope Greg's back. With Dalvin, a scope, he should be back in a couple of weeks. So you remember last year, Joel Bitonio had a scope on the bye week.
That's right.
And then thought he would be back for the Niners, missed the Niners game, but then was back 2 weeks later. So with Dalvin, I think certainly plenty of time there. But that's kind of the big news from yesterday.
I thought there was a lot of news yesterday. Didn't you think that? A lot of news came out on day one.
There certainly was. And the Browns, they are being judicious. So there are some bigger names that you're seeing on the side right now. Myles Garrett, David Njoku, Jerry Jeudy, although Jeudy yesterday was involved in some team drills. Today he was kind of 10 yards, 15 yards behind the plays, going in his motions, running his little routes behind the play, which saying very involved there. And then Nyheim Hines, we mentioned Nick Chubb working their way back. Cam Mitchell still battling that injury. And then DeAnthony Bell with the shin, who is currently on the PUP list. So we haven't seen Jed Wills. We have not seen Jack Conklin. But I know both are working to get back out there as well. So some injuries, when you think about 22 starters, there are a few guys that would be in that list that have not been out there.
Right. So that left tackle spot, James Hudson's been getting a lot of time there in the last couple of days, but that will be something to watch now. When will Wills be back?
Yep.
How will he be when he comes back? And what is the plan B, if there has to be a plan B, if he's not ready to go?
Well, one of the things that, and we'll hear more from Coach coming up, but, DeJuan Jones is an option for you, right or left. In our next segment, we'll hear more from Coach about that. But that's something, so far we've only seen him at the right side, but that is something that they could look into. If, let's say, Conklin is back earlier than Jed Wills, maybe give DeJuan some opportunities at left tackle and put Jack Conklin back at right tackle where he's a 2-time first-team All-Pro.
Well, boy, that would be something to see him back.
Yes.
That's a long, long road. You talk about Nick Chubb. I mean, remember, Conklin went out early, first half, opening game, Cincinnati. Chubb the next Monday night. But and he had just come back from an injury the year before, the patella tendon.
Yep.
So, I mean, fight on, Jack Conklin.
Yes,
fight on.
Certainly.
Great player when he's in there.
Great player, great guy. He obviously loves being in Cleveland, and certainly you would love to see him back out there. But before we get into some more sound, and coming up on the show today, just so you guys can kind of understand the pacing we're going to go through, you're going to hear from Jerry Jeudy. He sits down with myself and Jim Donovan at 2 o'clock today, and I'm excited to talk to Jerry Jeudy.
Great guy.
Have not gotten to talk to him yet since joining the team, so very excited about that.
Yeah.
We've got that coming up. We've got some action from the podium, potentially Deshaun Watson or Myles Garrett later on in the program as well. We got to clean some things up, apparently, in some of these pressers. They're a little loose with the language here in West Virginia. We'll go around the league, and we've got a lot, obviously a lot to talk about. But let's go back to today's practice. So we saw the first team portion team period that we have seen out there. Obviously, nobody's in pads, but I thought Deshaun looked very good throwing the football and looked very much in command.
Boy, I will say this, Nathan. The ball comes out very quickly.
Yes.
I mean, you'll notice that in this new version of the offense. I mean, he gets it, and boom, it's out. All right? I mean, really,
which is good.
Very rarely is he back there, boy, boom, 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 wait, go, boom. No, he has got it, and he knows where it's going, and they're ready to go.
And he just looks, from where I sit watching him, and I go back to, he just seems more comfortable with everything. And I know we talked about this last year, and that was, I think, more comfort in the offense. What I think I see from him is the comfort in himself, that he believes that he is Deshaun Watson again, the guy who was that.
I really do. I hope so.
I do too. But when you're throwing it in, one of the things where he had struggled really with the Browns early, you mentioned the ball coming out quick, was some of those quick throws that he'd throw in the ground, he'd throw low, he'd throw high, and we're not seeing that so far, which has been very encouraging.
Those were tough to watch, no doubt about it. And, I mean, he's well beyond that.
Oh, yeah.
And you just wonder about, where he is in what he sees and how quickly he sees it and get that ball out of there, and if he was just gripping it. I mean, it always seemed like the ball was, he was strangling it and the ball was going into the ground. So, I mean, but he looks much more fluid through 2 days here.
I think, and maybe relax is a better word. I think when you're trying to be perfect, it becomes very difficult to execute even maybe sometimes the most simple of tasks.
Right.
And I think when you're just playing free and let it be like going golfing, if you're trying to hit the perfect shot every time, you're not going to hit many good shots. You're going to be too tense to actually execute.
That is very foreign to me.
I know. I heard that.
We talked about that yesterday. Yeah, no play. No play, no gain, no worry about it. No worry about me holding you up on the course.
I think you'd be a fast player anyway. You strike me certainly as one that would be. Yes. Yeah. All right, when we come back, we got a little more sound from yesterday from Kevin Stefanski, along with Amari Cooper and Pro Bowler Amari Cooper, Pro Bowl corner Denzel Ward as well. So we're off and running here. It is Cleveland Browns Daily. It is training camp day 2. We are live at the Greenbrier. All right, welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily. Nathan Zagura alongside the voice of your Cleveland Browns, Jim Donovan, live at the Greenbrier Sports Performance Center as the Browns have concluded day 2 of their training camp. And still behind us, Nick Chubb and Nyheim Hines working out on the field, running around, Jim.
Don't tease me.
I know, you ought to turn around here.
My guy, getting ready. Huh?
Oh, man. Chubba Wubba Hub, let's go.
Gotta be a little.
I said we were walking back over as he started working on. I was like, this is a pretty momentous occasion, Jordan.
Yeah.
And Jordan, our new outstanding video production person for CBD and for numerous other things that we're doing. And he looked at me and I said, look, there's Nick Chubb. And we're walking with the president of the Nick Chubb family.
You are, yes.
I'm pretty sure there's not a bigger Nick Chubb fan.
Oh, my gosh, no. Could there? I don't think there could be.
I don't think so.
No. Beyond his mom and dad, who I have met several times, and really they're wonderful people. But I think I'm right there.
You are right there. Yes. You are at the top of the non-blood relative.
The non-Thanksgiving Day party invitee list. Yeah, no doubt. But don't tease me. I root for him. I can imagine when he comes back. And I say that positively, he will be back.
Yes.
But, I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, can you imagine it at Brown Stadium? He's not smashing the guitar like he and I both did last year, but he comes out of that tunnel and ready to go and playing. Wow, that's going to be great.
It is, because Nick Chubb is so much more than just the best running back in the National Football League, right? It's in an era of when you have prima donnas, or you have people who can be distractions, or people who want the spotlight all on them. He is the most blue-collar, put your head down, go to work, don't say anything, and just let your work ethic and your example speak for itself.
All right, when he does come back, how will he fit in this new version? I keep saying that, but there is a new version to this offense. How will he fit, do you think, in your picture of how it would work?
I think he's going to fit great, because he's going to run into the lightest boxes he's ever run into in his entire NFL career. You're going to be spread out.
Yeah.
You're going to be forcing teams to be in nickel.
Right.
And so you're going to have, instead of running in, there have been years where teams were putting 9 guys in the box and saying, you throw the ball against us.
Yeah.
And now I think he's going to have a lot more room, and he's going to be very comfortable at shotgun, but we're still going to do a lot of the under center stuff that he's so great at.
Do you remember the night Nick Mullins played Raiders?
Of course.
Browns come back, take the lead.
I thought we were going to win that game.
We're going to win the game. Greedy Williams comes up with a big interception, and all we need is a first down. And Nick Chubb gets the ball 3 times, and bang, into a wall. That's the 9-man front, right?
Yep.
We weren't fooling them.
No.
We weren't going to fool them.
No.
Yeah.
And sometimes
third and 3. They're going to give it to Chubb. We're going to put 9, maybe 10, maybe 11 up at the line. And they did, and they stopped us, and they got the ball back.
And then Carlson made a field goal into the dog pound. Yeah, that was because didn't Nick Mullins throw, was it a touchdown on 4th down? We had
I think Harrison Bryant.
Yeah. Where were you when Nick Mullins quarterbacked the Cleveland Browns? Not many of you were at the stadium.
I thought he deserved to win.
I did too.
That was the game that got moved.
Yeah, twice.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
We ended up playing it on what?
On Monday afternoon.
On Monday, and it was supposed to be a Saturday.
Was it 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
2020. Sometimes I don't think people would believe a lot of stuff that happened there in 2020. But yeah, Nick Chubb, you're talking about last time we saw him in a full season, 302 carries, 1,525 yards, 12 touchdowns. He and Jim Brown are the only backs in Cleveland Browns history to have 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Last year he was averaging 6 yards a carry before he got hurt and only had 1 run at 20 yards.
Nathan, one more point on that game, and then I'll let it die. I don't think Kevin coached that game.
He was out for that game.
Yeah, he was out. Yeah.
Everybody
was out.
Everybody was out. That was. I thought maybe I might get a call in from the sideline.
Mike Prefer was running the team.
It was.
Yeah, Mike Prefer running the team that day.
We're gonna go in. We're gonna dig.
Go into that game.
We're
all right.
Dig into. They're gonna dig.
This is your therapy today on Cleveland Browns Daily. We're gonna wash this game away, but I remember that night. I thought they were going to win the game, and I thought it would have been an amazing win and sort of kept them in contention if they had been able to win that.
It absolutely would have. They were very much in, for sure.
Right.
All right, let me see. Here it is. The Raiders. That would have been – was that in 2020 – 2021?
Yes.
2021. Yeah, because it wasn't the full.
No, not the big COVID
Yeah,
year.
the second year.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Raiders Monday, December 20th, 5 p.m. 16-14 barn burner. Browns were down 10-0 at the half. Third quarter, Nick Chubb 4-yard touchdown run. Then you get the 6-yard pass to Harrison Bryant on fourth down, 14-13. And then as time expired, Carlson from 48 yards.
That weekend sucked. That might have been the peak of awfulness for 2 years about COVID when it came to logistics.
Oh.
Because, remember, we're supposed to play Sunday.
I think it was a Saturday.
Oh, no, Saturday. It was a
Saturday.
It was
yeah.
a Saturday NFL
NFL
I
Network.
think it was like a
Yeah.
4 o'clock game.
Kay Adams was on CBD with us.
Yeah.
And we had to cut her off, and we're like, hey, I think we're moving. And she's like, well, I'm not coming to Cleveland then. I'm going to Cincinnati for the weekend. And that's what she did.
And that's what she did.
Yeah.
Literally, we had to adjust everything.
I know.
We had to change it all. And then it's like, all right, for those affiliates that have regular scheduled programming at 5 o'clock on Monday, you no longer have it.
Right. Yeah.
Nick Mullins, 20 of 30 for 147 and a touchdown, rating
Gross
of 89.2. Chubb,
Gross.
23 for 91 and a touchdown. Browns' leading receiver that day, Donovan Peoples-Jones, 4 for 48. Hollywood Higgins, 3 for 24. Demetric Felton, 3 catches, 16 yards. Harrison Bryant, 2 for 11 and a touchdown. Ernest Johnson, 4 for 17. The only person who caught a pass that day that is still a Cleveland Brown other than Nick Chubb was the Chief, had 3 for 29.
Wow. There you go.
What a bit of
turnover.
turnover.
I have to tell you, I thought Nick Mullins delivered a pretty decent effort that day.
He did.
That night.
Very much so.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought he was okay. I thought he was going to win the game.
Was he with Minnesota last year?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. When
sure was.
Dobbs was throwing all the INTs.
Yeah. After his first couple games where he looked like
The Raiders coach was
the
Bisaccia. Rich Bisaccia, who did a good job as the interim, and then
Derek Carr
got
them down the field.
Yep, 25 for 38, 236 and a touchdown. They had Zay Jones, Hunter Renfrow. MJ Stewart, I remember in that game, did a great job on Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow was having a great year that year, and he really kind of shut him down. He was a Pro Bowler that year.
Didn't Hunter Renfrow score their first touchdown in that game?
It was.
I think it was their opening drive.
Was it a short one?
Yeah.
No, it's Brian Edwards.
Oh, okay, Brian Edwards. All right.
Brian Edwards. Yeah, 5 yards from Carr, and then they had 3 Carlson field goals, and that got him to 16.
Heck of a kicker.
Yeah. And he's a guy who started in, much like we talked about Cade York, Dustin Carlson started actually with Minnesota with Kevin Stefanski when Kevin Stefanski was in Minnesota, and they cut him, and he ended up going to the Raiders and is now one of the best kickers. Yeah, he kind of referenced that quite a bit when Cade York was going through his struggles.
Right.
Sometimes you want to hang on to these guys. Yeah. So we mentioned Kevin Stefanski talking a little bit about as we got. It was a fun little trip. Well, I don't know if it was a fun trip down memory lane.
It needed to be done.
It needed to be done.
It needed to be done. I thought it did.
Now it's put to bed.
Yeah.
We talked about DeJuan Jones, and Kevin Stefanski was asked, would he get some work at left tackle? As we talked about, that might be a possibility. Here's what Kevin Stefanski said.
Rule out anything at this point. It's in camp. And you can't look too far into day one. We'll move guys around. So in football, as you know, you have to be ready to adjust, especially with that position, and guys have to be able to play both sides. So we'll see how it goes.
So he didn't rule it out,
yeah,
but he didn't say
Now remember, everybody, Jed Wills was a right tackle at Alabama because Tua Tagovailoa was a left-handed quarterback. So remember that when they drafted him, that was the big thing. Joe Thomas was going to help him
move to the left side.
Move to the left side. So I don't know. What do you think? Can he go over there?
I definitely think so. I would also add,
size-wise, he can go anywhere he wants.
He can do anything. Exactly. It is different in today's NFL than it used to be. Teams do not put their best pass rushers over the left tackle exclusively. For example, T.J. Watt rushes against the right tackle almost exclusively for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Many of the top pass rushers in the league work against right tackles.
What about
now.
Miles?
Miles, they move him around. So he can be on the left, he can be on the right, he can be on the inside right.
Yeah.
And so Nick Bosa gets moved around a lot as well. So there are both tackles are almost now equally important. It used to be that your left tackle had to be your pass protector and your right tackle had to be your big road grader.
Right.
And that's not the case anymore. So there's utility in both. I do think that, injuries could perhaps dictate it. My guess is if Conklin were healthy and let's say Jed Wills were not, they would want DeJuan and Conklin on the field. You wouldn't want to have one of them not on the field. So that would be my guess. But that's going to take some time from him, and that's going to take reps from him because, when Joe Thomas even talked about it, it's almost like trying to learn to write left-handed all of a sudden. Everything is exactly the opposite of what your body is used to doing.
Right. Could Conklin go to the left? Or with the amount of injury that he's had, are you really, pushing the envelope on that?
You could be, and I think that's an interesting discussion. And I know that I've had people tell me, well, let's put DeJuan on the left and send Jed back to the right, and that's where he was. And who knows what will ultimately end up happening. I will say I don't think you would see DeJuan Jones at left tackle unless we see it at some point between now and week 1.
And this is when you do it.
This is when
if you're going to, experiment with it, if it's a possibility, then you do it, now. This is the perfect time to do it.
And, you never know. A young player who did so well last year, was dominant. Yeah. Do you want to have him thinking about multiple things, or do you want him focused on recreating what he was able to accomplish last year? So I think that's an interesting one. But if we don't see it before the season, it's not happening.
Yeah, not going to happen.
No. Yeah. One guy that we are excited we are seeing out here at training camp is Browns Pro Bowl wide receiver Amari Cooper, coming off of the career year, 1,250 yards, over 17 yards per catch. He was interviewed by the media yesterday. He talked about participating in Browns training camp.
To be honest, holding out was never in the cards. I don't have any experience doing it, so I'm kind of a routine kind of guy, and I'm the type of guy I need those reps. You know what I mean? So, I always knew I was going to be here at training camp for sure.
So the holdout was much ado about nothing, some agent posturing, but it did land him not necessarily a new contract, but it got him kind of a reworked contract, upped his guarantees, upped his potential earning, and for the Browns provided some initial salary cap relief.
Boy, I watched him today. So smooth.
Oh, yeah.
It's like easy. Everything is easy. He makes it so easy for the quarterback. It almost, and I don't mean this in a bad way or negative way, it almost looks effortless.
Yes.
It's just right there.
And he is in many ways, given what the wide receiver position typically is, he's kind of the Nick Chubb of wide receivers.
I would agree, yeah.
Just goes about his work. Yeah. He is a consummate professional, obsessive about his performance and his practice and his diligence. And you heard that there. He said, I need my reps. This is to be me. He's like, I wasn't missing training camp. They may have said that, but that was not going to happen. Now, we talked about how the contract was kind of restructured. Here's Amari Cooper talking about continuing contract talk with the Cleveland Browns.
Honestly, I don't really talk to my agent about the contract. I think people really have a kind of a misconception about what's really going on. I don't hit him up every day asking. I don't really do that. Now we're getting closer to the first game. I'm willing and I'm ready to go out there and just play great football. Just be undeniable out there.
Undeniable. I like that.
It's good for his agent.
Yes, he's not pestering, but
he's not one of those guys that, hey, where are we now? Huh? Go up,
more.
Up. No, more.
Buy,
Yeah,
sell.
I'm calling back in 15 minutes.
He is about, as we said, he is about his business, and I think
that's a good alignment, Nathan.
What you heard there also is the quiet confidence that he has. It says, look, money is going to take care of itself because I know what I'm capable of doing on the football field, and I'm going to prove that. So I don't have to worry about those types of things. Now, he does want to continue to be a Cleveland Brown, and we talked about that. That is a new thing where everybody wants to be a Cleveland Brown. Here's Amari Cooper talking about his future with the Browns.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's been nothing but success here in terms of what I've been able to do on the field. I look to get better each and every year while I'm here. I'm really the type of guy that, takes heed to old sayings. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm not really trying to go somewhere else. You never know. The grass isn't always green on the other side. So, I would rather stay where I'm thriving.
There you go.
Stay where you're thriving.
He's 30, or he'll be 30, right?
Yep.
Is he 30 right now?
He's turning 30, or he just did. Hold on 1 second.
And as you look that up, at least right now, they don't have the next guy. They have guys around him that fit with him. But I don't think they have the next guy. Now, remember, they're back in the draft next year. They're back at number 1 in the first round. That's going to be terrific. And maybe they look at that position. But at least right now, I mean, he's the lead dog.
He is the one. Now, I do believe that they think Jeudy can reach that level. And that's one of the reasons they went out and acquired him. By the way, it was 39 days ago that he turned 30.
Correct.
So June 17th.
Okay.
June 17th, 1994 in Miami, Florida was Amari Cooper. So, yeah, 30. I think they do believe that Jeudy has the ability to be a number one receiver in this league. Now, right now, Amari is the one. Judy's probably the 1A. Then you've got Elijah Moore, who they like, and they're very high on Cedric Tillman. But, you know, part of the reality of this league, unfortunately, is that you as an organization have got to always be in a succession planning mindset and have a 3 to 5 year kind of look at your roster and your salary cap. And I think the Browns probably adhere to that process better than any. And I think if you were to ask them, you know, would you rather be on a very expensive position in a year late or out a year early, they probably would opt for the latter, being out a year early, knowing that you can replenish. And to your point with the draft, that's why when the Browns draft in the first round, you're going to see them draft very particular positions. Quarterback, wide receiver. If you have a star tight end here, left tackle, pass rusher, cornerback, because those are the 5 positions where you're actually getting not only supreme talent, supreme position, but you're getting a salary discount for their talent at that position.
I'm glad you said left tackle. I mean, I think it's
sure.
something that will unwind itself as this year goes on. But, I think that's going to be a position that they're probably going to have to take a look at in that first round. And those are the headline positions that, hey, if you're in that round and God willing, we're not high in the round,
right,
but we're in it. We're back in it after being out of it now for a number of years. You go get a star player that can help you for a long time.
Yeah, at a premium position.
Right.
And listen, I don't think any Browns fan out there listening would argue with what I'm about to say, is that you hope Jed Wills is a Pro Bowler this year and compels you to keep him here with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, there's a lot at stake for him in terms of his professional and financial future this year. I'm sure he is aware of that, and his future with the Cleveland Browns. But there would be no better scenario than for him to look like the guy that you drafted him to be.
Nathan, what would you say he has to do, in quality of play and what we watch with him at the left tackle spot? What does he have to do better?
Consistency. It has got to be consistent. He gives you flashes of greatness, but you mentioned, I'll give you weeks 1 and week 2.
All right.
He was a little slow off the ball week 1. That's the play where they get to the quarterback. Conklin gets leg whipped. He gets hurt. Week 2, he was late off of a snap again. That's when they got the sack strip fumble, pick up, scoop, and score in Pittsburgh for a touchdown and win the game. So it's the consistency. Joe Thomas talked about it all the time, that he never felt – if he had 70 snaps but one of them was bad, he was sick about it forever. It is a position that nobody talks about you unless it's negative, and so he needs to be more consistent. And I think part of it is not only in his play style, but it's almost the projection of his style on the field. There are times when it looks as though he may be disinterested, and he might not be.
You're right on. You're right on. Yeah, sometimes he looks a little bit disengaged.
Right. And he very well may not be. It may just be, but it's something that I think that you want to see. If you were the Browns, you want to see someone fully engaged, fully committed, and then you want that consistency. It is not good enough at that position in particular to be elite for 8 plays, decent for 1, and then awful for 1 out of 10. That is not a good enough success rate at that position given the catastrophic consequences of those lapses.
It's like the baseball umpire. If you don't know his name by the end of the game, he called a good game, balls and strikes. If you don't know the left tackle or any really offensive lineman at the end of the game, they did their job. You very rarely, other than, Batonio, there's a great block. Batonio's out in front of a great play. Teller doing that. But, I mean, for the most part, it's that referee flicking on the microphone and saying 71, holding, 10 yards, repeat the down. Yeah, I think that's what it is. You're right.
It's eliminating those clear negative plays. It's funny you mentioned the umpires. Somehow on my Twitter timeline, and you'll remember this better than I, because I don't think I was in Cleveland at this time, Doc Gooden is starting a playoff game for the then Indians, and throws basically 3 pitches in a row right over the middle of the plate.
The Red Sox.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then Hargrove gets tossed
Boom,
3
he's
pitches
out.
into
Yeah,
the
that's
game
right,
and was
yeah.
about to fight that umpire. And the umpire at one point pushes him, and Hargrove goes, "Don't you touch me."
That's
And
right.
it got,
So
that
right away in the game. You're exactly right.
one of the
I
great
remember
things
that.
about social media. I'd never seen that before, and when we landed here in West Virginia, that happened to be on my timeline.
Those pitchers were.
I mean, there were
right
3
there.
strikes in a row, and
Okay.
Gooden was kind of looking like, "What?"
All right, 1-0. Boom, right there. What? Yeah, it was amazing.
And then
yeah.
that was it.
Yeah.
The fact that Doc Gooden was a Cleveland Indian.
That blew my mind too. Watching that was when I was like, "Wait, that's not Gooden."
Well, that was at a point where they
Yeah.
were going out and getting guys because they had the batting, they had the hitting.
Yeah, they needed the
They
pitch.
needed the pitching, you know.
I saw something that said that the outfield, and I don't know if it was that exact year, but when it was Manny, Kenny Lofton, and I don't know if it was Joey Bell at that time. When Albert Bell. When the 3 of them were in the outfield together, it was the 2nd best outfield of all time. I saw in some outfield rankings.
Wait, defensively or
Just it
the
just
whole
said
thing?
best. The whole thing. It was they were behind.
Lofton was amazing.
They were behind an old Yankees one that had all the names that you would expect. But yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good for this.
Doc Gooden. All
Doc
right,
Gooden.
Doc Gooden.
And Hargrove. The human rain delay was not around for long.
I remember being out in right field in that auxiliary.
Up in the corner.
Yeah, that's right. And it was unbelievable. You're going, uh-oh, this is going to be bad. I think they came back and won the game. They blew them out. And they won the series. Didn't they? I think or is that the one where Hargrove ends up getting fired? Mike's probably listening, and he'll call in.
Yeah, he'll let us know. He'll let us know. I love it. Yeah, that was that was pretty wild watching that. I go, those are 3 right there. Those are like piped right down the middle. And Darren Lewis was the batter. Must have been the leadoff hitter for the Boston Red Sox, who went to my high school, and I actually played for the A's as well as the Red Sox for a while. And I have 2 autographed game-used bats in my collection in my career. One is a Mark McGwire because he was my favorite growing up as an A's fan, and the other is a Darren Lewis. It's actually in my son Bryce's room as we speak. So there was a lot going. Doc Gooden, Darren Lewis,
Mike Hargrove,
and an umpire whose name was very clearly known in the after 3 pitches in that game, you knew who was behind the plate for that one.
No doubt about that.
No doubt. All right, when we come back, we're going to hear a little bit from Denzel Ward. We're going to go around the league as well. And I think, Gibbe, you had more from camp here as the Browns' biggest position, question mark now at tackle. I think we have tackled that, no pun intended, very, very thoroughly. All right, when we come back, by the way, all these things have been your hot topics of the day presented by University Hospitals, the official healthcare provider of your Cleveland Browns. When we come back, we'll go around the league. Nathan Zagura, the voice of your Browns, Jim Donovan, live from the Greenbrier, Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily, live from the Greenbrier in West Virginia. As always, brought to you by Ballybet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. And Browns fans, check out Vivid Seats for official fan experience packages to this season's games. Purchase Vivid Seats Terrace Experience seats and score some club access, parking, and a pregame field pass all included. Again, you get club access, parking, and a pregame field pass all included. Don't miss that. Visit vividseats.com to learn more. Nathan Zagura alongside the voice of your Cleveland Browns, Jim Donovan, and we just watched the highlights there of what I saw come across my Twitter feed, or X feed, I guess you should say, on our trip here. Hargrove getting in there. Chris Berman on the call. Boomer.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And the umpire, Joe Brinkman.
Joe Brinkman.
Yeah, wow.
Joe Brinkman backed down pretty quickly when
Nathan,
Hargrove.
I'll tell you what, those were the days over there on the corner of, help me on this, will you, Jason?
Carnegie.
Ontario and Carnegie.
Ontario, Carnegie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
there was a storyline every week, and it didn't even involve the baseball team on the field. Like, it was
normally off the field.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
They were quite a bunch.
Yeah, you didn't want to trick or treat at some of their houses, apparently. Apparently that
or
was
at least one of them. Yeah,
just one.
Yeah. All right, Denzel Ward. We heard from Amari Cooper. We're going to hear from our Pro Bowl cornerback Denzel Ward now, and something that obviously is very, very important to him, the new bill that passed about AEDs, life-saving CPR training, and, of course, his foundation. Make them know your name. Here's Denzel Ward.
The bill is putting CPR and AED kits in the schools and recreation places, and but not only that, but teaching people, the people that's in the building, how to use them. Because sadly, my dad had passed away, and there was an AED kit where he had passed away at, but no one had the competence to use the AED. So, I mean, my family and I, we got a foundation. We've just been trying to spread the awareness and get the bill passed to teach people and give them the confidence in using CPR and AED kits. So we're definitely proud and appreciative that the bill was passed over, and to put those into communities and to teach people to help save life.
Boy, that has been a family effort. His dad was loved in that school district. I mean, absolutely loved by the students. And I mean, he had a famous son, okay? I mean, all Ohio, everything, right? I mean, high school, Buckeyes, and out of the Browns. But what a sad story. I was not aware that there was an AED on site when it happened, that nobody really knew how to operate it. But what a family effort there by the Ward family.
There's
his
no doubt.
mom, his brother, his family, and him leading the way. They've done an amazing job. They really have. And they are all in on that.
100%. And I think it's one of the neat things about, people talk about a football player and, they make all this money. But when they have something that is very important to them, and Nick Chubb did it with, his Chubb Crunch cereal for SIDS that affected his family, that they get a platform and an opportunity to save people's lives or to make differences in people's lives. And I think it's very powerful that Denzel did this. And Gibby, I don't know if you were with me the day, I don't know if you remember this. You remember when Denzel signed his new contract and they had me present him an iPad that had a video from all of his family and people throughout his life congratulating him. And he got very emotional. And obviously there was talk of his father, his late father, and it was one of those things where you could see just the emotion wash over him, and knowing that, yes, he had done this. He wished he could have shared it with his father, but going to keep his father's by making sure that other people don't suffer that same fate. I thought it was a pretty powerful thing, and certainly was. You don't see these guys are modern day gladiators in many sense. You don't see those kind of emotions, and I thought it was very powerful to see.
Well, that was his dad's message to him, right? Make sure they know your name.
Yep.
Make sure they know your name.
Absolutely.
You're going to be, you're important, and let people know who you are. That's important. Don't lay back. If you can do something, and they'll know your name that way. We know his name for what he does on Sunday afternoons, but this effort is. I applaud them.
I applaud it as well. It certainly is a beautiful thing. Real quickly, we're going to get Denzel's reaction to Greg Newsome news as well, and then we've got a special guest coming up live here from the Greenbrier. Let's hear from Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward, about Greg Newsome.
It hurt. Greg's a big energy guy for the team, leader for this team, and a great player out there on the field. So we're just looking forward to getting him back as soon as possible, but just wishing him the best. But, yeah, it definitely hurt, though, him being out.
Yeah, and he's going to be out for a while. We heard Kevin Stefanski say, we hope he's ready for week 1, and you certainly do when you're dealing with the Dallas Cowboys and their ability to throw the football. But wishing Greg a speedy recovery. Definitely miss him here. You always know when Greg Newsome's around. He is loud and boisterous and fun and all those things.
That's why they pay him the big bucks.
That's right. So we certainly wish Greg a speedy recovery as well. All right, when we come back, Dan Graziano is going to join us live from Browns training camp in West Virginia at the Greenbrier. Nathan Segura, Jim Donovan back with you, and Dan Graziano of ESPN right after this. All right, welcome back to the Greenbrier. Nathan Segura alongside Jim Donovan, the voice of your Cleveland Browns. We are live here, day 2 of Cleveland Browns Training Camp 2024 in the books, and we are happy to welcome in ESPN insider Dan Graziano. You can follow him on X at Dan Graziano, Graziano, ESPN. Dan, welcome to the Greenbrier.
Nice here. I think the last time I was here was Deshaun Watson's rookie year with the Texans. They were here, so
they were here too.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, they were.
Yeah.
He's spent a good chunk of his career here, I think, in terms of training camp. So,
he might have endorsed all of this.
He might have.
He might have said, "Hey, listen, it worked for me earlier."
Everybody here knows him, and they were happy to see him. So yeah, he's used to it for sure.
How are you doing?
I'm great,
man.
Back
in it now, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the summer was very relaxing. A lot of our shows went basketball heavy because the NFL was so quiet. And the basketball was pretty good, so I got a little bit of a break, ready to go. I've been at Ravens, I've been at Steelers, now I'm here, and then off to Cincinnati, and then I'll do the NFC North. So, yeah, I love this trip. I love training camp trip. You get so much good FaceTime with people, good information. It's a relaxed setting, and nobody's lost any games yet. The moods are generally pretty good, and I always find a lot of value in it.
So let's go inside those camps, all right?
All right.
Let's go to Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating
at
the quarterback spot and what they've done. I know it's very, very early. What is the vibe there?
Well, I mean, I was there yesterday for their first practice, and Russell Wilson didn't play because he woke up with a calf injury. I don't know, Charlie horse. What I don't know what he had. But so Fields got the first team reps, which was the big story of the day, and it was great for him. And he talked about what a great opportunity that was for him. yeah, I think they're going to fight it out. I think Russell goes into camp as the leader based on the offseason and what they asked them both to do in the offseason in terms of processing, in terms of accuracy. I think he was ahead of Fields. But you guys know OTAs and minicamp aren't the whole picture, and once you get to training camp, especially up there where they actually tackle to the ground in training camp practice, like you can maybe put Justin Fields in a position to show you a little bit more of what he can do in terms of moving around in ways that Russell Wilson probably doesn't or can't anymore, and he might have a chance to close the gap. So something like, yes, I haven't even checked in up there today. I didn't know if Russell Wilson practiced today or not, but the longer he misses, the better opportunity there is for Fields to get that first-team offense to get to know him.
So we've talked about this a lot, and Jim and I agree on this. And I remember being on the air when we found out Kenny Pickett was traded, and I said, oh, no, Fields is going to be a Steeler. That was my reaction on Browns Daily, and sure enough, by the time we were back on a Monday, he was, in fact, a Steeler. What did you, maybe from talking to them or just talking to people around the league, I don't understand how he was able to be acquired for a bucket of balls. I don't get it. I think he's good.
Then the market never materialized. I think the Bears went into the offseason thinking they could get maybe a second-round pick, but surely a third-round pick for him. And we came out of the Combine, and it was clear that they were not going to get that there just wasn't that level of interest in the player. And so they ended up I think in the end they did right by him. They put him in a place where he had an opportunity where he'd be with good coaching.
He wanted to go there.
Yeah, so but yeah, that's what it was. Like they were not going to get more than that for him. They had found that out. They couldn't keep him once they decided to draft Caleb Williams. Like it wasn't going to sit and be Caleb's backup. So yeah, I think it was just a matter of that's what they were just sort of cutting bait at that point and moving on.
Dan, how do they do it? They make the playoffs every year. They turn the corner. The Steelers.
Oh, the Steelers.
Yeah. How do they do
Bears,
it? I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, they're at 6-7 wins, and they make that push, and they get in, and they make the playoffs. Now the exits have been a little bit rough,
and it starts to feel like the 7 seed was kind of made for them.
Yeah.
Right?
How are they feeling about that? But I mean, what is the magic of how they plow their way through it, and they get to that last weekend, and they're in there?
It's funny, we're talking to some people here today, like the continuity that you guys have established here with Stefanski and Barry now for going into their fifth year?
Yeah, 5 years.
And compare that to like the decade or so before, right? Like you can start to see. Now expand that out to 50 years. Yeah, right? now you have the Steelers, right? They've had 3 head coaches in that time, and Mike Tomlin's been there 15 years and never had a losing. Like that is when teams talk about culture and trying to build culture, like that's got to be part of what they have in mind, because the Steelers are who they are, and they've always been that, and they've been able to trade on that and rely on that, and everything works off of that. If you go there, you're buying in. If you don't, you're not there long. And I think that they have a lot of self-belief. Like this quarterback situation they have, both those guys could turn out to be bad options, right?
Yeah.
In which and you say, well, in which case they're toast. They made the playoffs last year with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. So like they believe that the Steelers believe that because of Mike Tomlin and everything that he represents and everything they've established there, that the worst they will be is their talent level. Right, like that's it. Like they will get whatever they can possibly be. They will be that, and potentially, and hopefully, in their case, more. But I do think that's it. It's the continuity and the steadiness of what they've built there and maintained.
I do have an injury update, guys. Sorry to interrupt. From Brooke Pryor with the Steelers. Russell Wilson said he injured his calf after pushing a sled during the Steelers' new conditioning test on Wednesday.
Oh, boy.
Mike Tomlin made the decision to keep him out the last 2 practices in an abundance of caution.
Abundance of caution.
There it is.
I love that phrase. It's training camp.
That might come to an end.
It's
sled thing.
Yeah. It's training camp when you hear an abundance of caution.
Not good that you hit her pushing a sled. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, all injuries are different. Like, Joe Burrow showed up to Cincinnati training camp last year and hurt his calf, and he didn't practice for like a month.
Right.
And he wasn't right until like a month into the regular season.
No, he was not.
So those can linger, and I'm sure that Steelers don't want them to. But, I mean, man, if you're Russell Wilson, you're going to be pushing to get back on that field, especially if field starts looking good.
Right.
Absolutely. By the way, you are listening to ESPN 850 AM WKNR Cleveland. Nathan Zagura, Jim Donovan, the voice of the Browns, and Dan Graziano, ESPN NFL insider. Sticking with the Steelers really quickly on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, when a guy like Patrick Queen leaves Baltimore, you say, get out of the AFC North. In fact, you're going to just go right down the road to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He feels like such a Steeler to me as well. As obviously, he was a great Raven, but that defense what's that defense looking like? And it feels like if there is any question, it's more on the back end than maybe the front seven.
I would think so. Although they think Joey Porter Jr. is going to be a star at the cornerback, and I think they feel like they have enough there. But yeah, I mean, I talked to Patrick Queen yesterday, and he was funny. He was like, switching sides in the Ravens-Steelers rivalry.
Yeah,
like
wow.
He's like, T.J. Watt kind of looked at me funny for the first couple days, and I felt like I had to smooth some things over with some guys, and I'm sure he's not kidding, but yeah, I think he's fired, and I think he feels very comfortable there. I think again, you go to the Steelers and you're going to play defense, you have a sense of what it's going to look like and what it's going to feel like, and I think that has met his expectations. Yeah, up front, I think they'll be really good. Watt is obviously a superstar pass rusher, and they feel that's the thing, right, with the quarterback situation. Like, they feel like they're going to be able to run the ball, and they feel like they're going to play good defense. I think their offensive line they feel better about that than they have in a long time.
Yeah.
And so all they need is a quarterback to sort of do no harm. And I think that's sort of the way they're looking at it and why maybe Russell Wilson might have the edge early on.
Well, they're going to get that Arthur Smith offense, which could be maybe a little bit more mundane, but that's been kind of the position that's been much maligned for them as the offense corner. The play caller has been under fire in Pittsburgh for years.
Canada, he had a rough tenure there. Look, Arthur Smith is like, I think one of the things they like about him is he's kind of adaptable, right? Like, what he did with Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, maybe it's different when you have a different kind of quarterback. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, people say Arthur Smith likes to throw over the middle of the field. And I was like, well, then he shouldn't use Russell Wilson.
Right.
because he doesn't do that. But, so I don't know what it'll look like, and it will be dependent on the quarterback. And it's fascinating that the two quarterbacks are so different that they probably have to design two different offenses.
What about the Ravens now?
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Lamar Jackson was sick. When I was there, I thought
bad pizza.
I thought I said if Deshaun Watson doesn't practice today, these teams are not going to let me come around anymore because Lamar was sick and then Russell Wilson was hurt for the day I was there. So, but thankfully, no, the curse has been broken today. Deshaun got through practice fine. The Ravens are. Watching the Ravens practice without Lamar Jackson, you might as well be watching cartoons. Like there's nothing resembling the offense without. Because Josh Johnson he's not gonna run what Lamar Jackson runs. So, the second day I was there, the defense had 6 interceptions, and seriously, like 6.
Yeah.
We were over there talking to the governor of Maryland, who was at practice and watching just interception after interception. But so. They feel good about the defense, which I think is important because so much change, right? They lost the coordinator. They lost 2 top assistants to coordinator jobs. They lost Patrick Queen. They lost Jadeveon Clowney. Where is the edge rush going to come from? Geno Stone had a lot of interceptions. So, it's the Ravens. They feel like they're very good at refilling and developing, and they believe that they will get production from the guys they have, the younger guys they have. But there are question marks on that side of the ball. And on offense, they are replacing 3 starting offensive linemen. So, I think the Ravens have a lot of questions to answer. You give them the benefit of the doubt in much the same way you give it to the Steelers because of the coaching staff, because of how well run the organization is and has been for so long. But I think in this division, and they're the ones playing the first place schedule, I think they are a candidate to possibly take a little bit of a step back while they get all that stuff sorted out.
So you're the first person that I've heard say that, and I agree with you. I look at the exit from them. And the real ad is Derrick Henry. But the fact of the matter is Gus Edwards had double-digit touchdowns last year. They always could run the ball. They
didn't have a problem running the ball.
But you lose coaches. You lose, obviously, your defense coordinator. Anthony Weaver's gone. Yep. It's a lot of change on a side of the ball that really kind of has carried them along with their MVP quarterback.
3 offensive linemen.
That's a big deal, too.
That's a big deal.
So, some of them were, like they traded one. So, obviously, like that, some of that's by choice. But, on the defensive side, you mentioned Weaver and Denard Wilson, who's now the coordinator in Tennessee.
Yep.
And Zach Orr is the new defensive coordinator. He's 32 years old. You remember Zach when he was a player, right? Yeah. And he had to retire early because of health issues. But he's been groomed. Like the Ravens have developed him as a coach. He was on their staff as a scout and a coach ever since his playing career ended, except for 1 year. He went to Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, and nobody likes to talk about that year. But they feel like he's ready. It's going to be the first time he's ever called plays. I was talking to him the other day. I said, do they call plays like in preseason? Nope. It'll be the first preseason game will be the first time I ever called plays. So there's some stuff to sort out there. There's no question about it.
How's their receiving corps looking? I'm a big Zay Flowers fan. I wish he were not on the
So
Baltimore
are
Ravens,
they.
but he is good. But the rest of it has been very much a big question.
Well, I think Zay, they really believe is a superstar, like a real number one, and I think that's the role he'll fill there. They brought back Rashad Bateman. They brought back Nelson Aguilar. You know, I think you'll see two tight ends on the field a lot because of what Isaiah likely showed them last year when Mark Andrews was hurt. And if Andrews is healthy, then they'd like to use both those guys and likely will move around the formation. He's not really a blocker, but they can use him as kind of he might be their number 2 or number 3 receiver, right? And I think you are going to see a lot of Derrick Henry. Obviously, they're a running team. Of course. The last 5 years, they're 167 rushing yards a game, like way, way ahead of everyone else in terms of running the ball. So they'll stick to that. But I think Flowers is the guy. And, again, it's hard to get a read on it because the quarterback wasn't there when I was there. But so you didn't really see who he was throwing to. But I think Flowers is the guy they really believe is going to be the star of the receiving group.
Well, let's come to us.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm feeling pretty good after hearing those reports, though very early from the other division. We are waiting, obviously, for Deshaun Watson to really take root. You know, and maybe it was about to happen last year, you know, after the Baltimore game, and then he got hurt, and that was the end of the year. What do you think?
Well, it's a new offense, right? So that's a big part of what and it's designed in a way that they think will help Deshaun, right? Like get him out of so many third and longs and you know, be more aggressive on first and second down, and so your third downs are shorter if they exist at all. It's a little bit lined up. It's like what you see with the Kyle Shanahan offenses, right? Like they don't. I feel like Kyle's worst playbook is his third down playbook because he's so upset to be there, right? Like nah, forget it. Let's just punt and we'll do better next time. But so I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think there's a sense. I was talking to Ken Dorsey after practice today, and the word he used for Deshaun was motivated, and he said he really feels like he's he knows this is the year. Like he's got to show it. And they feel like he's in good position to do it. I think health-wise, all the reports are good. It sounds like he's capable of doing whatever they need him to do, and they're just going to be smart with him, right? As you can this time of year, and should. So yeah, but this is. I mean, they know he has the talent. I mean, to me, it's like, you know, does he have to be 2020 Deshaun Watson, where he led the league in passing and was kind of the whole offense there in Houston? I don't think here that he does, right? Because you have the line, you have the defense, you have the receivers, you have the I mean, I think they like the running backs even with Nick Chubb still rehabbing, but certainly once he comes back, I think they feel like they have a very deep and talented roster that if the quarterback play is just good, right, that then they will be a real contender. I mean, he won 11 games last year, right? And with mostly 4 or 5 different quarterbacks, right? So I think that's how they feel about it, and they recognize that he has the potential to be more than good. We've seen him be great, a great quarterback in the NFL. So if he can get back toward that, then I think you have something potentially special.
I saw earlier you mentioned this is a great time of year for people to go and have conversations with people, and I saw you had a nice little kind of chat there with Browns general manager Andrew Berry.
Yeah, I can't tell you anything he told me.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
You could tell him what did you think sent out? No, I'm just kidding. What kind of is his kind of tone, and what did you take away from that? If there was anything that really jumped out to you that was interesting,
I think he likes his chances. I think he's probably one of 32 general managers who will tell you the line needs to stay healthy, right? Like that's true of everybody. But I also feel like he thinks he's built some depth there, and they can fill in if injuries do hit as they did last year. I think defensively, the changes were kind of minimal, right? Maybe interior defensive line, and
you've added a few pieces,
yeah. So I think they expect to continue to be good on that side of the ball. I think they're happy with the Jeudy acquisition and how he fits in the offense and what he can offer in terms of the kind of routes he runs. And I think Andrew is proud of his team and proud of his roster as he should be. I mean, again, if you can start 4 or 5 different quarterbacks that started last year.
I think it was 5.
But it was really 4
because
of
right the week 18.
Yeah,
right.
Week 18 Driscoll.
But they did start 5 quarterbacks. So that if you can start 5 quarterbacks and win 11 games. You've got a team,
something,
right? Like you've got the rest of your team must be pretty good, and I think that's how they feel.
Kevin Stefanski made a little news yesterday prior to your arrival saying that he would call plays.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've talked to them at all about that. Did it surprise you, and what's kind of your read on that?
I talked to Dorsey about it, and he's fine with it. Obviously, he said that Kevin was up front with him when he got hired. That's how it was probably going to shake out. And I think Dorsey's role, helping design and install the new offense, obviously, but I think his work with Josh Allen, right? His work with Cam, I think they really feel like he's such a good quarterback guy. He played the position, played it at a high level in college.
Absolutely.
So I think they feel like they need somebody to really help Deshaun kind of get to where he needs to be. And I remember seeing Dorsey interact with Josh Allen over the years in Buffalo, and I always thought it was a shame when Dorsey obviously got the OC job when Brian Daboll left, but they moved him upstairs to the booth. And I thought that was a shame because when he was on the sideline, he was like the first guy to party with Josh Allen after a touchdown. Like Josh would come back to the sideline and they would just jump and chest bump and all kinds of. And I always thought that engagement that he had with the quarterback was special. And I think if the relationship with Deshaun is anything like that, and Josh always felt like he had his support and. Obviously he's the coach. He does what he's told. The quarterback does, but they felt like it was a really good sort of symbiotic relationship, and I think that's the value that Ken Dorsey probably brings, even as an offensive coordinator who doesn't call plays.
Kevin's in his 5th year.
Yeah, I know.
As the head coach.
2-time coach of the year.
That's right.
Coach of the year.
Yeah.
As I assume you knew him. As he was climbing the ranks. Especially in Minnesota, where he was for so long. He's really been a perfect fit here with a really interesting demeanor.
Yes.
Kind of a really quiet, very, very placid, kind of,
culture
even-keel guy.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things that drew the Browns to him was they felt like offensively he would be adaptable because he had worked in so many different offensive schemes under so many different guys before he became the coordinator. And so whatever they ended up doing at quarterback and personnel-wise, he would be able to make something out of it. Right. And I think that's proven to be the case. In terms of his demeanor as a head coach, he is. But you know what? Quiet, but also he's very direct with you. You always feel like you're talking to somebody who is going to remember the conversation. You don't always feel like that when you do these sit-down interviews with some of these guys.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not surprised he's had success. He's obviously very intelligent, and he's very confident in what he does. And I think he and Andrew Berry make a good match, and they're clearly on the same page. He seems to have a sense of what he wants from a coaching staff, how he wants it to operate. So, he did wait for his opportunity a little bit, and I think he spent a lot of time thinking about what he would do when he got it. Right. And I think he's executed that plan. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for you guys. It's a good.
Same.
He's a good guy to have around.
Amen to that.
Thank you. All right, we'll get you out of here on this one, Dan. Heading down to Cincinnati, you said next?
Yes.
Is the focus just going to be on Joe Burrow's hair?
No, it's going to be on his wrist. How's he look throwing the ball? Yeah, the hair thing is something else. I don't get that one, but kids today.
Kids these days, exactly. Kids these days.
Hey, I am a huge fan of Get Up.
Oh, thank you.
I have to tell you, that is a must-watch
awesome.
in the morning.
I appreciate that.
Definitely on a Monday morning
Yeah.
after an NFL Sunday afternoon.
Oh, yeah, those guys would,
you got to get up pretty early to be on your your P's and Q's for that crew.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's a great show,
It's
Dan.
fun. We've had so much fun. I've been on it now, I think, 5 years. It has really been special. Everybody tells me it looks like you guys are having fun and that you like each other. And it's that's because we're having fun and we like each other.
Which helps, which goes a long way.
We don't have to fake it.
Yes.
So, but thank you for saying that. It's very nice.
Of course, Dan Graziano. Follow him on X at Dan Graziano ESPN. He's the NFL insider for ESPN. All right, we'll be back with Jerry Jeudy joining us here on Cleveland Browns Daily live from the Greenbrier. We'll be back right after this on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Thank you. And Paula, she'll go right into the Jerry Jeudy interview. Yeah, so 17 minutes from now, 32. Oof. Okay. I might have to edit this Watson interview or presser. Let me work through it.
Broadcasting live from the Greenbrier Resort and Training Camp 2024, this is Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily, live from the Greenbrier. Browns Training Camp 2024 underway. Nathan Zagura, the voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, and we are very excited to be joined by one of the newest members of the Cleveland Browns, wide receiver Jeudy. Jerry, first of all, first time we've gotten to talk, welcome to the Browns. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you. When you found out the news you were coming to Cleveland and that, quite frankly, the Browns have been after you for quite some time, what was that moment kind of like for you, knowing, okay, I'm going somewhere that clearly wants me? They showed you with a contract right after you came through the door as well to kind of get things going here in 2024.
Man, I was extremely excited. You know, just a great team. You know, new opportunity, new city. So I was just very excited to come to Cleveland and be able to be a part of a great organization.
Hey, you have to allow me to do something because I always hear Alabama players, and when someone interviews them, so Jerry Jeudy, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. I mean, that's what they always say.
Yes, sir.
When you come to a new offense, and you're in a new offense here, how different is it than the one you were in?
It's not really that much difference, you know, because at the Broncos, you know, I play with like 4 different offensive coordinators.
Yeah,
you know?
You've seen it all.
Yeah, I done seen it all and been through it all, you know, and I'm a very fast learner when it comes to stuff like that. So, you know, it's not extremely difficult for me. So, yeah.
Talking about Alabama, I know that Amari Cooper is somebody that you've kind of looked up to throughout your career. What's it like to now be in a room with him?
You know, it's pretty crazy. You know, it's actually my first time seeing him because I ain't get to see him on OTA. You know, I'm still kind of a little bit starstruck because that's a guy I've been watching since high school. Like, he is my favorite wide receiver, you know, so being able to play alongside him, you know, that just means a lot, and just be able to learn from him, that's just going to help me get better too.
Why is he your favorite wide receiver? What does he do that you go, wow, that's me, I want to be him?
Just his playing style, the way he run his routes, the way he get open. In high school, I used to always watch all his highlights. Used to go on Google, look up his high school highlights, used to do all that. So being able to see it in person is just truly amazing.
And this is going to be, you're going to find this, and we talked before you got on, that you really, with the Broncos, you had joint practices, but you never did something like this.
No.
You're going to get a lot of time with Amari Cooper here over the next 9 days. So you guys are going to be together. That's got to be something you're excited about and just kind of going to be a neat experience and a way to kick this thing off for you.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. You know, this is a great way to build camaraderie with the team, you know, and I'm excited to be able to be around such amazing people and amazing talent like Amari Cooper and be able to learn from him and just soak in all the information he got to give.
Now, you'll get it more as time goes on, but Cleveland, football town, have you gotten any feel of what the Browns mean in Cleveland, what it's like to be a Cleveland Brown?
Nah, you could tell this a true football town. You know, in Denver, you know, they're a football town, but you know, some places you don't get recognized, and some places you do. But in Cleveland, everywhere you go, you could tell everybody watch football and everybody love it. So you know, you could tell the love of the game in Cleveland.
When we talk to players who come from schools like Alabama, the SEC, we say that Cleveland's got kind of that collegial feel where everything is about Sundays at 1 o'clock or now 4:25 for the opener, obviously, against Dallas. But that's what the clock is set to. Just like at Alabama, it's all about your game on Saturday nights. That's kind of a fun thing. Do you get energy from that when you know that you've got a city, and I'm sure you've seen some of the highlights from the season last year, but a city that just has that kind of juice for their team?
Yeah, you know, you all want to be in a city that loves their football team, you know, that bring the juice, that do anything and everything to come and support the football team. So having a fan that's behind you like that, you know, it's truly amazing and it's exciting for real. Just want you to go out there and perform very well and do your best for the city of Cleveland.
Yeah. Did Alabama get you really NFL ready? What they did, how they did it, the success they had doing it when you were there. But, I mean, being in that system and being with that staff there and that program, did you feel, you know, getting into the NFL, okay, I'm ready?
Yeah, yes. I mean, Coach Saban and the staff, you know, put us in a position to really be successful. And we learned a lot. And, Coach Saban bring a lot of NFL coaches in. And, I had Sarkisian before he was in Atlanta, a lot of different coaches, so you learning from them and they're soaking those information up and just them telling us how things go in the NFL, it helped a lot for sure.
Is it pretty wild that the tight ends coach of the Cleveland Browns was Alabama's OC last year?
That is,
Tommy Rees?
That's crazy. That is crazy. You got Alabama all over.
All over. Tony Brown. Yeah, there are a lot of guys out here.
Why not? Huh? Why not?
Yeah, it's a good place to get some talent from. When you come here to a new team and then you're going to get to really meet your team, you're obviously at the OTAs and on minicamp and all of that, but you meet the coaches as well. And Kevin Stefanski has, I think, a very calm, very steady, unique approach. What's it kind of been like getting to see the way that he kind of applies his craft as the head coach and leader of this team?
Yeah, you could tell Coach is a very chill, very laid-back dude, but when it's time to work, it's time to work. Once you hit that field, you could tell there's a different switch of focus when they get to that. But outside of the field, he's very chill, very calm. Somebody you could go up to and just talk with. So, yeah.
Take us in the huddle, Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. What is he like? Early goings on him, early reviews. He's your quarterback now.
Yeah, Deshaun, a very humble dude. I don't want to say he really talked too much, but when he talked, people listen because the amount of respect he have, but he deserved, by the way he played, by the way he carried himself. So that's a guy that I respect and truly look up to as one of our leaders.
Was he a guy along with Jameis that you were aware of when you were going into college and all of that?
In
high school?
Yeah, I used to watch Deshaun Watson all the time. Even though he beat our Alabama team in the national championship.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But that's a guy that I've been watching since I was in high school. That I always thought was extremely talented and a very good quarterback.
Boy, you sound like such a student of the game. You're watching a lot of highlights and things like that, huh? Cooper,
I live
Deshaun
dream
Watson.
highlights. That's all when I was a youngin', still to this day, that's all I used to watch is highlights all day, every day. Even when I didn't have Wi-Fi at the house, I used to go to the McDonald's across the street and still use all their Wi-Fi juice just to watch highlights on my little iPhone. Not my little iPhone, my little Metro phone.
Yeah.
Didn't even have no service. All I just needed YouTube. That's all that matters.
When you think of being with Amari and Elijah and Chief and Nick Chubb will be back at some point, the 11 personnel grouping you guys can put out there with Deshaun, it's incredibly, incredibly dangerous. How do you see yourself kind of fitting in skill set wise with guys like the Chief and guys like Amari and guys like Elijah Moore?
I just see myself like we got a lot of great guys that could do everything, catch and run, get open. I feel like I'm one of them guys that could do the same thing. I'm just bringing just the same thing as what they've been doing. So I think I'm gonna fit in right very well.
One of the things I was looking at when we got you was some of the advanced stats, and Amari, yourself, and Elijah are three of the best in the league against man coverage.
Yeah,
because you
guys can't stop that. Can't guard that. Real Florida boys can't guard that. Yeah.
So that I think gives some type of an advantage, right? Because if teams want to go ahead and test you, they got three guys they got to contend with who can all create separation, who are great route runners, dangerous after the catch, and then you can almost force them to play some shell, and then it's just play pitch and catch out there. Like it's a unique collection of that skill set of route runners, which I think is pretty exciting.
Yeah. Having guys like Elijah and Coop, like you said, being able to create those separations just gonna make it harder for everybody else. If you go ahead and play man if you want to, because somebody gonna get open. Somebody gonna get open.
Absolutely.
We're also learning about Ken Dorsey, new to the Browns coaching staff. What are your early thoughts on what he's bringing?
That's crazy too. When I used to watch Ken Dorsey highlight too when he was at
Miami
Hurricane.
Yeah.
I told you I'm a highlight junkie. I used to watch Ken Dorsey highlight when he was at Miami playing quarterback. So not to see him as our offensive coordinator is it's crazy because I was like in elementary probably watching him. So having him,
he was pretty successful. Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He used to have the little sleeves and. No, he was tough. So yeah.
Do these guys all know that you've been watching them for a long time?
Yeah, I know Coop because I used to hit up Coop about when I was in college about certain stuff. Ken Dorsey, when I first got here, I told him that I used to watch his highlights when I was younger. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, we're so excited to have you here. Excited to get this season officially going here at the Greenbrier, and then
we'll get your highlights.
Yeah, we'll get your highlights. Starting in September against those Dallas Cowboys.
Yes,
Jerry,
sir.
welcome to the Browns, and thanks for the time today.
Thank you for having me.
Does your furry friend have what it takes to beat out the competition? Enter the Dog Dash Sweepstakes, presented by Milkbone, for a chance to have your pup compete in the annual halftime dog races. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/milkbone to enter and check out more from Milkbone at your local grocery or pet supplies store. Nathan Zagura, the voice of the Cleveland Browns, Jim Donovan, Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio. And Jim, it's been a parade of stars.
Yes,
Graziano, Jerry Jeudy, and by the way, you can get the video of that Jerry Jeudy interview on the Browns YouTube channel right now. So go check that out, youtube.com/Browns.
That
Jim,
was a very interesting rundown of the division.
Yeah.
And you should all sleep better tonight.
Yeah, it's like
everybody's got a problem. Some have bigger than I think we do. I really do.
It felt that way,
it does,
certainly.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we seem more settled than a lot of teams. The Baltimore story, really, I didn't know it was. You did a little bit more than I did. But I didn't realize it was a lot of subtraction there.
Oh, yeah. They lost somebody at every level. They lost their leading sack getter behind Matabike and Clowney. They lost Patrick Queen at linebacker, and they lost Geno Stone, who led the NFL with 7 picks a year ago. So somebody at all 3 levels. Their defensive coordinator is now the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Their defensive line coach, Anthony Weaver, spent some time with the Cleveland Browns on Mike Pettin's staff, is now the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins. And then their secondary coach is now the defensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans. So the only coach back from the staff is the linebacker coach, Zach Orr, who's now the defensive coordinator. And as I said, they lost a principal piece at all 3 levels. Now, unfortunately, from a Browns standpoint, Patrick Queen went to the Steelers, Geno Stone went to the Bengals. So we still have to contend with those guys twice a year. But there was a lot of subtraction there.
Yeah. I think they should have kept Wink Martindale.
Wink, yes. Wink.
He had a couple of good years there. I'll tell you what, they were very good. I mean, they're always, I
was watching the show Receivers on Netflix, and I'm trying to think where he was last year. Was he with
the Jets? No.
He was with somebody that was playing the Raiders, and after the game he came and talked to Davante Adams, and Davante was like, "Did you really have to double and triple me the entire game?"
Okay.
And he said, "Yeah, I did." He said, "That means I respect you." So that's good, which was I thought that was pretty funny to see there. Jerry Jeudy, also the first time we've gotten a chance to talk with him.
Wonderful.
A highlight junkie. Go to McDonald's with a phone that didn't even have cell service to get on Wi-Fi so he could watch YouTube highlights.
Of other players who were in high school, college.
Yeah.
Not even in their NFL year yet, but I mean, to watch them play at Alabama or in high school, that's what he wanted to do. And he couldn't get enough of it.
No.
And the Ken Dorsey part was great.
The little sleeves. He had the whole outfit down. Yeah, and he went to Alabama in large part because he so idolized Amari Cooper.
Right.
And now he kind of even said it's a little surreal to me to be in that same room with him. And he didn't have the benefit, obviously, OTAs and minicamp, but now they're going to have this entire week together and hopefully a very productive season together there. When we come back, we are going to hear from the quarterback of your Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson, at the podium earlier today. And you're going to hear it sounds very much like a man on a mission. Nathan Segura and the voice of your Browns, Jim Donovan, live at the Greenbrier Sports Performance Center here in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. The Browns, day 2 of training camp in the books. And after that practice, the Browns starting quarterback Deshaun Watson addressed the media. Let's take a listen.
Sean, the big news
Down.
yesterday was that Kevin's going to be calling plays. Was that news to you?
Nah, we already spoke on it before camp, so I kind of knew the news.
Is that when you learned who would be the official play caller just before camp?
Yeah, we had our conversation, we had our meeting, and yeah, he told me how camp was gonna go and how the season was kind of gonna go with the play call.
Deshaun, you through consecutive days now, the last 2 days, throw 11 on 11 today. How much farther down the line do you feel like you are compared to where maybe 2 months ago you thought you might be at this point in time?
Like I've been saying before, I'm right on track. Right where I want to be. I'm right where the doctors wanted me to be. And just continue to follow the process, continue to follow the script, and taking it one day at a time, and just locked in on the process of what's ahead of us.
Does it feel any different when you're in team drills as opposed to doing a little 7-on-7 in minicamp?
As far as
does it feel like another milestone?
Yeah. I mean, this is the goal was to get the training camp and have no limits. So each day is a milestone for me until we get to game 1. So just trying to get better, just trying to continue to get back to the person I feel like I am, and just keep working each and every day.
A couple of weeks ago at your tournament, you were talking about Dorsey. You made the remark that he lets me be me. Can that still happen with Kevin calling plays?
Yeah, they work together. It's a combination of both of those guys, working together with the game plan.
So how do you feel about the way it ended up? Kevin calling the plays and really a different kind of offense?
It's not going to be. It's going to be the same. They work together, so like I mentioned before, it's going to be the same.
How do you think you did during obviously that's the first time we've seen you do 11 on 11? How do you think you did during that stretch?
That's good. The key in training camp is just focusing on one play at a time and just trying to execute that play versus whatever the defense is scheming up for us, and just taking completions, getting positive yards, and whatever mistakes or situations that pop up that you didn't see on the field, you watch the tape and you correct it the next day. So we felt good of just stacking those days, and that's all we can do right now.
So Kevin said that he thought that it's a possibility you guys kind of run more up tempo. Amari talked about can Dorsey run as quick as possible. What's your perspective on that? How do you think it can help this offense?
It's great with me. I mean, that's what I've been doing my whole life, my whole career. So there's nothing new with my way I play the game and the way I came up from high school, college, and even my first couple years in the league. So I'm cool and comfortable with all that.
How confident are you that you can be better than you've ever been before in your career, even coming off of this surgery? And what makes you feel that way?
Because I'm self-confident.
And what about the fact that does it have to do with the offense also that they're installing and then making the supporting cast that you're running? It seems like all the pieces are in place to maximize your skill set this year.
Yeah, that's the key. Is just pick pieces around me that I can maximize and guys that can execute it at a high level and get the ball in space to those guys so they can help me out. And we all got to be in one. It's a team sport, it's a team game. So everyone got to be on the same page to be able to play at that high level.
Deshaun, setting aside the rehab component that you went through this offseason and ramping your arm back up, just what did you, alter or change, or how is your approach coming into this season different maybe than the previous 2 years?
I think honestly it's really just blocking out all the bull. Honestly, outside. It was tough coming in 2 years, different environment, different different team, different all that. So you come in and your character's been mentioned this way, and then it kind of flip on you, and you trying to biggest thing you trying to get people to like you or improve. But now it's like at the end of the day it's 2 years in, and if you don't like me or you have your own opinions, then forget it. It is what it is. So I think blocking out all the noise and focusing on me and focusing on what I need to do to be the best Deshaun Watson I can be for myself, my family, and my teammates.
Deshaun, you spoke so highly of Amari during the spring when he was holding out. Just how happy were you that everything got resolved, that he's back out here this week, and just getting him back into the fold this week?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's very special to have a guy like him. Not just the talent and the experience that he had for just me and the offense and that receiver group, but just him as a teammate, him as a person. Just to have him in that locker room, the energy he brings. Everyone enjoys him. A lot of people, of course, don't get to see the real Amari of him just kind of being talkative. Most people think he's very, very super quiet, but when he's around guys like guys in the locker room, he's very comfortable, and he shows a lot of character. So it's good to have him back in that locker room, and it's good to see that they can meet on a fair both sides and get him back here playing for us.
Deshaun, to some degree, all eyes have always been on you. You've always been scrutinized. Was it tough these last 2 years, though, like you said before?
I mean, yeah, of course. My character was getting challenged, and I know, like I said, I know who I am, and a lot of people never really knew my history or knew who I really was. So they going based off other people's opinions and whatever other people are saying. But I'm a person that like to have people like me, and I feel like a lot of people are like that. So sometimes things in your brain you just gotta turn, and you just gotta be like, forget it. It is what it is. So.
Deshaun was saying that you seem down, especially after the injury. Do you feel like kind of unburdened now, or free and more like yourself?
I mean, of course, yeah. I mean, I took 21 off, didn't play ball. Had the suspension, so missed a lot of ball, and I'm trying to come back. And last year I thought that was going to be the year where I can play a full year and get a full season under my belt, and the injury happened. So I was there very disappointed and down, not just because I couldn't show exactly what I can do for this organization. And I understand that they put a lot into me, but sometimes the injuries you can't control. So a lot of things kind of didn't fall in place the last 2 years, but praying and taking them one day at a time that everything do this year.
Deshaun, in that team period, there's no shells and all that. I did see you take a few snaps from under center, throw in that formation. Is that going to still be a big part of the offense? So how important is it to keep under center in the full offense? Not just on the shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, we have everything. Whatever Kevin and Ken draw up for this system, we're going to go out there and execute. So who knows what's going to come. It might be 4 receivers stacked up in the line tomorrow. You never know what's going to happen. So, we just got to go in and watch the tape, and whatever they draw up, we go out there and execute.
Your shoulder feels so good, and the ball is coming out so well. How much is that contributing to the confidence that you have in yourself heading into the season?
It starts with the work. I mean, all the work that I put in, all the long hours, the nights with the training staff, out in LA with all the PTs, Dr. Rob, my body work guy, guys with Quincy on the football field, Billy with my strength and conditioning. I mean, everyone is playing a big part. So it's a lot of work that a lot of people don't see. They see stuff on Instagram that I post a little bit, but that's just the 1% that I be doing. Even when I go on vacation, I'm always working. So the work never stops. It always comes first, and I understand that that's what's going to take me over the next step.
You talk about your approach.
What's that? No, I actually cut down on weight, which is good. Maybe muscle. I probably tone down a little bit like that, but it's definitely the best shape I've been in the last, for sure, couple years.
Deshaun, this is the third year that Andrew Berry has added a wide receiver via trade. First it was Amari, last year it was Elijah, this year it's Jeudy. How excited are you about what Jeudy could potentially do for you and bring to this offense?
He's explosive. He's very elusive. Get the ball in his hands, let him work in space. He's just like Coop and Elijah. Guys can run routes, and they take pride in that. So they're very detailed. We watch tape every morning and every night, just going over maybe 1 or 2 routes. Okay, this is what I'm seeing. What are you saying? We're getting on the same page. So when we get to those games, it just worked like clockwork. And just, the timing and the execution is very good. So, AB is doing a heck of a job of putting guys around us, and we got to put it together so we can go out there and score a lot of points for this team and help this team win.
Talk about your approach to this season. What's your motivation?
Just being the best Deshaun Watson can be for this team so we can get that ultimate goal and maximizing my potential and my talent, and that's my motivation. I don't have anything else that is going to motivate me.
None of it's proving people wrong, like you rank quarterbacks and
I give two about the people say, to be honest.
Deshaun, your best game, or not your best game, but the last game you played had one of the, that comeback. Did you learn anything from that? That maybe after the game we find out you got broken bone and you got ankle sprain, that maybe you don't have to do it all, and you got all these weapons around, and you just distribute it and let them make it happen?
No, it's not me trying to do too much. I think that's you guys trying to make it seem like I'm doing too much. I'm just trying to execute the play. Sometimes the play call is to try to do a shot, take a shot. Sometimes the play call is me running the ball and just being myself. And like I said, I took a hit one time, and sometimes it went the opposite way. And I can't. Sometimes you can control it, sometimes you can't. So. Like I said before, I played on injuries before. I played on a torn ACL in Clemson. I played on broken ribs, a punctured lung in Houston. I played on an AC joint, a broken collarbone. I played on broken fingers. Just check the history. I've done it all. So if I'm on the field, I'm going to give the best I can. I don't never try to do too much. I just try to do what's best to execute that play at the time. And my teammates know that, so that's why when guys ask those, my teammates a question, they get the similar answer that I give. I don't think he's trying to do too much. I think he's just trying to execute the play. So.
Deshaun, how much does this offense sort of draw from a lot of what you did successfully, maybe even all the way back to Clemson? I mean, is this sort of picking from a lot of different offenses you played in before, or is it sort of its own unique creature?
Yeah, I think it's very unique. I think it's just not just for the quarterback perspective, but I think it's just for all the skill set that we have at receiver. I think it's a different skill set that you guys have all seen in the receiver room. We got very elusive guys that can play all positions. We got different tight ends. It's not just, one tight end.
30-30.
We got three tight ends that can play receiver, that can play in the backfield, that can play out wide. We got running backs that is very shifty. We got a lot of different things that is different than what most people that watch this organization have seen. So you got to put all that together. You got to take all that in perspective, and if you can do that, and then you put that in place. You start with the quarterback, obviously, and then you kind of trickle out to everyone else. All right, what is people good at? How can we, give different looks and put people in different positions so they can execute their skill set too. It's all in one.
You're up.
Well, he sounds motivated.
And ready.
Yeah,
very ready. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we will be ready for day 3 of Cleveland Browns training camp. Obviously, no CBD tomorrow. It is Saturday, but Jim and I will be back with you on Monday.
All right.
Live from the Greenbrier. Sad and happy, yes, but it's been a blast so far. 2 days looking good. The Browns will practice tomorrow. They will have Sunday off, and they will return for practices Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we will have Cleveland Browns Daily for you on all of those days, getting ready here in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. For Jim Donovan, Jason Gibbs, Nathan Zagura, Jordan, getting it done. Thanks for listening. The next level is next. You've been listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet.
You've been listening to
Great Job
Daily, a production of the Cleveland.
Yep, have a good one, Sam.
ESPN Cleveland.
We'll double your down payment up to a total of $5,000 at Ken Ginley Kia. Your $1,000 down